but there were mostly bad people in this field, or maybe it was me because it was so close to me. Nobody could do a good enough job, you know? So anyway, some of them wouldn't do the insulin shots. So how am I going to drive 3 hours away when she needed insulin 4 times a day? Anyway, so I grieved when I found out the diagnoses. In addition to grieving, I was stressed out about work and being a caregiver. I was quite young to be a primary caregiver with no help. So I didn't have the coping skills. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, I wasn't taking care of myself, and I crashed and burned. I resigned because I had respect for my boss, and I told her, I'm not doing you guys any justice right now. I'm just not. So that was it. And then I, just lost myself, because who was I? I didn't know. And I went off the chair. I went a little, so I don't know. So I tried to seek resources again and again. I was disappointed. I feel like sometimes therapists will see you forever and just charge you without ever saying, hey, look, are we getting anywhere? Which really annoyed me. So once I started getting better, I went to school for life coaching, because I really, what appealed to me was the goal-oriented and nature and results-driven. So they weren't going to see you and stare at the clock at the corner of their eye, or the clock's behind you and they go like that, so we pick up on these things. And then there's the other people who go to therapy that I think we all know one or two of them who have gone for 30 years, and we're like, where? How? What? Maybe you should have fired her 30 years ago. But anyway, so I just don't like that. So when I discovered this technique, it resonated with me, and I applied it to myself, and it was life-changing. And I'm not a salesperson, I'll tell you that right now. I absolutely, it changed my life, because I thought I was damaged. That was it. That's it. What else? Nobody could help me. Nobody could help me. I was a victim. Nobody could help me. But I healed myself. So, I'm not going to lie. It takes as long as it takes to develop any habit, which is 3 cycles of 21 days. And it took a lot of perseverance and diligence, but I did it. I had some support at the time, so it was easier. So I will let you know, I'm saying mind management, but it's so much more. It's like you become self-aware. That's why this pertains to leadership development, because that is the primary, that number one characteristic that determines whether someone's going to be successful, and that you need to be skilled at to lead. You need to be self-aware. You need to be aware of your decisions, aware of how you're speaking to people, aware of how you're reacting, and manage your emotions. And that's another thing. So it teaches you how to regulate your emotions. And as it's doing this, so you're implementing 10 minutes a day of mind management work. And if you stick around, I'm going to tell you what to do. And it's really not hard at all. The problem is you start feeling better. This is the problem after like 4 or 5 days, and you're like, wow, I've got this. I don't need to do it anymore. And then, but you've got to push through it. So I have a coaching program. If you need help, I have a free Facebook page where I help people for free do the 10-minute mind management exercise. There's support out there for it. But I mean, really, what is 63 days when your whole life, well, my whole life, I'm not going to speak for you, was, you know, I was just a mental mess. And now I know when you tell yourself, I have no control of my mind, I lost control. You literally just said, oh, you lost control. You may as well just give up then. So anyway, so as you are tuning into your emotions, learning to self-regulate them by, guess what? You're confronting your negative emotions. You're not medicating them and masking them. You're not denying them, ignoring them. You're literally confronting them. And that sounds scary to somebody with anxiety, because it was, and it doesn't feel good at first, but when you use the steps to analyze and break it down the correct way, you feel the anxiety like dissipate and break away. It's just such an amazing coping skill, because you could use it for that, but you also use it for stress management. So that's another skill that you need to excel at if you're going to lead a team. So communication. What is the foundation of communication? Confidence. I mean, you have to be confident. So I fortunately had the luxury of experiencing just about every negative emotion that exists, including social anxiety, which when I was younger, that was a nightmare. So I know now it was lack of confidence. So this technique also teaches you a process to, it's basically unwire out the negative and rewire the positive by monitoring your thoughts, but there's a methodical way to do it. So you're also creating a healthy default thought pattern. Did you? Great. Digest that. A healthy default thought pattern. So, for example, you know how they say, and they even said this when I was in school, the norm is you could hear 10 compliments, but if you hear one, I just botched it. You need 10 compliments to make up for one negative comment. Well, that's true if you have a negative default thought network. But if you have a positive default thought network, that's not true. Because I'll tell you right now, you start to understand that not everyone's gonna like you. And you don't like everybody. So be honest with yourself. That's a huge, huge must in this during this technique, is to be honest with yourself. So you don't like everybody, and not everybody's gonna like you, and that's okay. So you as you become self-aware, you become accepting of yourself and your uniqueness. We're all unique. We all need to accept each other for being unique and understand we all have differences of opinions, and that's normal and okay.